Good evening, Lumineers. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic evening or morning, I guess, depending when you guys are listening to this. This is episode 6 of the Freedom Gaming Podcast. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for liking and subscribing. A quick plug before I introduce everyone, though. We are still running our 150 subscriber giveaway. We're about 30 subscribers away, give or take, at the time of recording. So all you have to do is just subscribe, like and comment on some videos, give us some feedback on stuff, however any of you guys you want, any questions you want us to answer, anything you guys like, any other stuff you're looking to see. And then once we get to 150 subscribers, we'll put them all in a hat and raffle them up and get you guys get someone a set championship Mirabelle. Um, same for as last week, just minus Michael, unfortunately. He will definitely be back soon. I know you guys all like your Mike Senior love. Um, but just started us off to my left, we got Joey. Joey, how we doing today?
Doing well, getting ready for Halloween and getting ready to do this podcast.
Oh yeah, definitely. Halloween is tomorrow at time of recording, so it should be a lot of fun for sure. Underneath me, we got Brian. Brian, how we doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. Loving all the new spoilers, loving all the
Mhm.
enchanted art, and obviously we'll get to talk about that later on.
Yeah, I was about to say, save some for the podcast, bro. You don't want to blow it in our first 2 minutes. And last and certainly
Woo.
not least, to my bottom left, we got Mike. Mike, how we doing?
Doing great, living the dream,
Yeah,
living
for
the
real,
dream.
right? I mean, like like anyone can talk about like cards, but like we get to do it like every week, and it's like super fun.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so a little different order we're gonna go today. We're doing a new segment for you guys. We got some viewer questions. We had some guys comment on our last video, so we're gonna go over them. We only have 4 questions. So we will definitely, if you guys have a question you guys want us to answer, just write it in the comments section, and we will definitely do our best, as long as it's Lorcana appropriate, of course. Do our best to get it answered in our next podcast. So leading us off with our first question, we have Jack Morales, 3989. How do you feel about the theme of the Set 6 Enchanteds? The map schematics vibe is perfect for the Pirate Inventor theme set IMO. Bonus question, what would you like to see for the theme of the Set 7 Enchanteds? So Brian has been quite adamant about these, so I'll let him kick us off. So Brian, how do you feel about these Set 6 Enchanteds?
I am absolutely loving them. I know I've had some discussion on forums and Discord and stuff already, and it seems like the consensus is either you really, really like the art and the theme behind
Mm-hmm.
the Enchanteds, or not at all. Like
Yep.
between Facebook posts and whatever else, it seems like
Mhm.
that's kind of the general thought on it. I really enjoy it. I love the background details. Wreck-It Ralph having the gauntlets in the
Oh
back.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yzma's got all her potions and like her laboratory
Mm-hmm.
tools, and the Captain Amelia's got the ship in the back. Treasure Planet vibes all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
man. I am seriously enjoying it. And then obviously Basil with the different disguises. I
Yeah,
don't know
Yep.
how people don't like it, but I know like some, oh, it's brown,
Yeah.
whatever. They don't like the coloration, but I think it's perfect. There's like just the details, the color details to, hey, this is emerald, this is amethyst, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Mhm.
But I sincerely like it's completely different, and I kind of do enjoy like just like set five with Shimmering Skies, the route with the enchanteds that they took there.
Mm-hmm.
That Mufasa card is definitely
Oh yeah.
gorgeous. Still trying to hunt one down. Still the reason why I'm buying packs and opening them. This week I pulled a King Candy on Sunday, so super happy there. But really stoked to see the rest of the spoilers and what comes next. But I love them. If everybody else ends up hitting them and I can pick them up at a low price,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
better
win-win.
for me.
Yep.
Exactly. Mike, how do you feel about them?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like them a lot. I think the only negative, and Brian kind of touched on it, it's kind of hard to tell what color they are.
Yep.
Mhm.
But I still think the art choice they took is really cool. As far as set 7, what I think it could be, we only have one card that we know of from set 7 right now, which is the Moana, the blue Moana.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I'd imagine it's going to be more sailing stuff, maybe not pirate, but maybe island based or something
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been let down by any of the Enchanteds. I would say my least
No.
favorite of the 6 so far would probably be set 2, I believe, or no, set 3, the one that had the Peter
3.
Pan and the Hook, Peter
That,
Pan and Hook that had like a faded look to it.
I think that was.
Yeah, I think it's set 3.
Set 3. Yeah, the Inklands
Yeah,
Yeah,
one.
the
Yeah.
ones with Diablo.
Now that
No.
Mikey kind of
No,
mentioned
it's
it,
4.
like
My bad.
Azerite Seas and whatnot, like we're kind of done with the whole theme of the big villain. Last one being
Ursula.
Ursula,
Ursula,
right?
yep.
And so now we are getting into Big Hero 6, opening up, introducing some new characters.
Mhm.
But Azerite Seas, Moana 2's coming out end of November,
Mhm, Yep.
right? Maybe we are seeing some new Moana cards. So
Yeah, it's true.
maybe set 7 it'll be like a continuation of that, like new adventure, whatever it is, and
Mhm.
new villain, new challenge, whatever. However they choose to approach that, but
Yep.
we can definitely start to theorize the more leaks we get.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I think they kind of like been telling like a story, like going like Ursula's like
Yeah.
the big bad, and then like Shimmering
Mhm.
Skies is like the celebration, and then like Azerite
Yep.
Seas is like the journey. So now like this is like
Yep.
so like maybe like you like
Where
Mike.
we headed?
What?
Where we headed?
Yeah, exactly. Where we head, it's like if it's Moana, maybe it's like island based, so something more like tropical. So like kind of like an Inklings, but just more of an island vibe. Maybe that's where we find our new villain, our new big bad.
Yep.
They
For
did say
Voyagers.
what it was. I think Pixar was 2025. So like, does that mean
20
like right
26.
or 20?
26.
Oh, it's 26.
26.
Yeah,
Oh,
26.
that's unfortunate. Then I was gonna say, man, because that'd be like
Yeah.
2025.
Mhm.
Set 7 immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so maybe it's just more. It leans into more of like the Moana vibe and everything. We'll see. Joey, any final thoughts?
I really like them as well. I like that they keep taking risks and changing them up, and they're
Mhm.
not the same thing every single time.
Yep.
One of the cool notes of these is like it's a treasure map type,
Mhm.
like coloration to it and stuff. It also like what Brian was saying with all the details, where the inventors you're talking about like drawings and architectural stuff, and like the details are down really minute and stuff like that. It's kind of a cool layout. I wonder if they're gonna keep with the set 5 like the raised texture that was
Mhm.
on the cards, which
Yep.
is kind of cool.
That was
I
awesome.
wonder if they're going to do something different because it's kind of like a more matte finish than a
Mhm.
like glossy finish. So interested to see.
Yep.
And then set 7, I think we have no idea what it's going to be either. Like there's no names, there's nothing. There's just the Moana card.
Yep.
So I have no idea.
One thing that I like that you guys really didn't touch on about the new enchanted is like kind of how each one that we've seen four from all different colors,
Four.
and you can kind of see like the outlines of like whatever ink color it is. Like with the basil, you have like kind of like the aura of like the green. Similarly with or I guess Amelia.
Yzma.
Yeah,
Yzma's
well
purple.
Amelia and
Yzma's very prominent. The
Yep.
two in
in steel art,
Steel,
yeah.
yeah,
Steel
but I
is kinda
still like it.
whatever.
Yeah, so I think that was like a nice touch. It wasn't just like all these colors. It was like there was like a purpose with it. So that was one thing that I really liked about this route. And obviously like the whole like treasure map, kind of like the Da Vinci style of art. Like I thought that was a very good touch. Like Joey was saying, like taking risks and like going more for other options, not just doing like every enchanted looks the same every set. Like you can tell like the distinct. Like you can tell each enchanted came from which set, which I think is really cool and a very cool design design
I
idea.
think it's cool too. Agreed.
So yeah, so definitely looking forward to what else we have going on in set 7 and onward. Crazy, we're already talking about set 7 spoilers, and set 6 comes out in 2 weeks. All right, so our next question, kind of in the same vein, from this one comes from FS Lorcana. Favorite art from the new set, and what card would you want for set champs? I think we've talked about this. We talked about definitely the set champs card, but favorite art. So I'll start with Joey. Joey, what's your favorite art, and then what card would you like nice enchanted for set champs?
I think the Baymax card, the legendary one, is just a cool ass card. I mean, like it's just Baymax in his full bodysuit, and it's just like it's super clean. There's not a lot going on. He's just a great character. Like the movie's awesome, and just that scene in and of itself of him just like wings spread out, it just looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
As far as like set champ card, I hope they go back to like Rockstar and go a set or two behind, and pull like a good card, a playable card, something like some Mim or a
Diablo?
Diablo.
Diablo.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh my god. I hope not.
that
That
everyone
card's
would
gonna be
play. Yeah, set champs would be like 100 people. You would have to cap every set champ.
I would love that though, man.
But the other
There-
thing that I think is like what me and Mikey were talking about this earlier this week, where Rockstar was a great choice because it didn't have it enchanted.
Mhm.
Ursula was a weird choice because
Yeah,
it had
Diablo
it
has been
enchanted.
enchanted.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think
I don't think
hope
they're
that-
gonna go back anymore, though. I don't
No.
think they're gonna go back
They
anymore.
might not. And so like if it is gonna be like you have like on the ticket for me is like Maui, Simba, John Silver, and I feel like John Silver is probably a good hit because there's so many pirates and captains in this.
Yep.
I think it would be a really good person for Azerite Sea.
Oh yeah, for sure. That would be it would be interesting if they went back. Like that would I don't think they would do it just because they haven't done that since. But it would that's not a bad call though. Mike, favorite art from the new set and your set your store champs enchanted.
Favorite art of the new set is the Rafiki for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Got leaked early.
Yeah, the purple Rafiki. That's a really cool art. Rafiki always his art's always really good.
Oh,
to be
yeah.
honest, like almost every card they have of his, I like.
Mhm.
Set champ card. So I actually pulled it up while we were talking because I couldn't remember if Rockstar Stitch was a legendary, but it's not. So it kind of opens the door a little more for a set champ card because I think all the other ones have been legendaries.
Mhm.
And I don't think they're gonna go back. I think the only time they'll go back would be for DLC promos and stuff like that. I could see them going back and digging into those
Mhm.
for more like staples. But my set champ pick, Baymax is a good one.
Yeah. That's my prediction.
Yeah, that Baymax is definitely good. I think he's gonna get enchanted though. I'll say Genie then.
Yeah.
I'll say the 7 cost Genie.
Yeah, that's
But I don't know. I hope it's not because I don't know if it's gonna be that playable.
yeah.
I think that's the big thing is it's like like this Maribel set champs just felt like not worthless because like on top of you going to 8 cards that you're going to, like the value of it just tanked. And so like the value of the set champ tanks.
Mhm.
And so I just hope that there's a good valued card and something like that is worth 8 copies of it in the top.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll say that we've heard in testing circles within the developers that Maui Shark is tested very well. So maybe that they see that testing well, that may be the one because they've already picked the set champ card.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait until they see how the meta goes and then pick their card.
Yep.
So I mean, it might be Maui Shark.
Who knows, right? Bri, favorite art and set
Favorite
champ
art
prediction.
as it stands right now is
Yep.
the 9 cost yokai.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's a good
super
one.
villain.
That's a good one.
Dude.
That could be it. That could be the set champ too.
That one, even the other one, the 3-drop one, I like that art, but the 9-drop, it's got all the microbots in the back, and it kind of looks like it's liquid or something, but those are microbots
Yep.
from the movie. I think it looks awesome. I don't know necessarily that it's going to be like a phenomenal card. It's going to be very specific deck that'll be running. If not, then I would love to see like Tadashi Hamada as I don't like his current art, but it would be cool to see
Get an
something.
alt.
An alt. I will say though, I don't hope that it's Oswald because Oswald already got a little bit of love with the D23. And I already have one, so I'd like something else. But it's something I did mention in one of our chats was like I would love, just like the D23s, I'd love for like some staple cards that people play consistently to get some kind of like a alt art, not necessarily like a hard like enchanted where it's really difficult to pull, but just some alt arts like the Ursula 2-drop Ursula got. I love that card. And I immediately had to get 4 of, so we made it happen. But it'd be cool.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely would be. So my favorite art, I'm gonna go a little out of the box here. There's so many nice cards like between like the Simba, like Brian said, like the yokai and everything. I actually really like the 7-drop Kakamora. I just think those characters are hilarious in Moana. I've always that's literally like one of my favorite parts of the movies, just when they like show up and like flip their faces and everything. Love those guys.
Yeah.
And then I've been pretty adamant about Baymax, like in all of our chats, like to people, like about being the enchanted. But I'm actually gonna go another way, because Baymax is a little that's kind of a layup. Like he's such like a staple character and everything. So my enchanted pick is going to be it's gonna be an action card. It's gonna be Sail the Azurite Sea. I think that they've shown
I don't know.
they've shown.
Will it happen? Probably not.
Probably not, but
it would be badass.
tell me that wouldn't be a banger card though. Like the
Yeah.
card is
Oh,
good.
it for sure would. It's
Yeah.
going to be one of the best
Oh, yeah,
cards. Like you
yeah.
talk about not having to test and knowing a card's going to be a staple.
Yeah.
That's one. For
Oh,
sure.
100%. Yeah. So like it would be
And,
like
and you know, people would grind
Yup.
those set champs for
Yeah.
them.
Players would, but collectors, like that's the problem because
Yeah.
it's not tied to a Disney title, so you're losing the collector crowd.
Yeah.
Like
True.
look at Elsa and things like that. You know, like that's the reason I wouldn't see it, but I
Yep.
would love that. I think it'd be great for the players.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
'cause
Like,
it
that would
be
be-
a playable card.
that would be that would be probably like my dream. At least even if I don't play it, like I think that would just be so fun just to have like a banger action card like Finders Keepers, but like actually amazing. Even though everyone's playing Finders Keepers now.
And
Um,
maybe that card doesn't, obviously not the set champ card,
Mhm.
but I would love for next season or next year
Mhm.
when everything restarts, instead of the Altart Rapunzel, Altart Cindy, maybe they change it up, expand the
Mhm.
cards for
Cool.
DLCs, so people
Yeah.
attending could kind of like pick and choose, have a little bit more options.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that's where they introduce those like playable cards with the Altarts that I mentioned.
Well, and to that point too, it's like that's a great way for them to like get alt arts that aren't foils, that you can really deck out your deck
Mhm.
in
Yep.
a good way, going to DLCs, spending money on the events, and then these are your rewards, and
Yep.
you get to
Mhm.
choose cards that you actually like.
And I really liked the Cindy and the Rapunzel.
Mhm.
I would just like to see a few additions,
Yep.
or they rotate through, because then it makes it like, hey, everybody's just another small incentive to attend. Because if you know that this is the only time you'll be able to get your hands on these cards,
Mhm. Yep.
collectors, players, and they did a great job with the Cindy and Rapunzel. Both of those cards do see play, especially the Rapunzel.
Mhm.
Like, that was genius in my eyes. But why not, instead of just 2, maybe 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, and give people some more options
Oh yeah.
for
sure.
different colors. Like maybe 6 cards, one for each color.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
like making it like a rotation. Like these were like season 1. It's like, all right, maybe we'll bring them back another time, or maybe they'll only be available at like a continental or a worlds type thing. It's like, so if you like get them while you can. So like you were saying, Brian, it gives you more incentive to go to all these DLCs to, if you don't play or if you don't do well, to grind those side events to make sure like you get your tickets up.
And I
Um,
think another thing too is because they're non-foil. I don't know anything about how cards are made, but it seems like you can print out a staple card for these, like where Mikey was talking about. They've already set the set champ card set up,
Mhm.
but like next DLC cycle, they could be like, all right, Maui doesn't have anything crazy, or like Maui could get a new altar. This card could get a new altar. That card can get a new altar, and just print a few runs of that, throw them at the DLCs, and you got promos to sell. Like,
Yep.
5-drop Maui would be a great DLC promo.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that would be crazy. Or like even if they start like tying in like some like the DLC promos, or like even like the DLC prize cards, just like having like a tie to like playing in a tournament, like maybe like holding a trophy or something along those lines. Like it'd be cool like to be like the same card, but just like there's like an actual like legitimate tie, not just like, oh, this is a DLC only card. Like there's something there like specifically to a DLC. Like I think that would be
Like,
Kind
cool.
of
I think
way
Pokemon
back.
did that with like Pikachu's and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Kind of in
Yeah.
a way, yeah. They well like the winner cards, it's like Pikachu holding a trophy, like the
I think-
the number
I
one
think-
trainer and stuff like that.
When you said that, the image I got was when League of Legends was doing their like
Oh.
world champs, and then the winning team or whatever,
Got
they got
their
their
own
own like
skins.
skins
Got their
and
skins.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even like Magic. I think does Magic even still do that? Like when if you win
Yeah, they
Worlds,
do.
you get like to
The
design
World
a card.
Champs.
Yeah.
So like that'd be stuff like that.
Yeah.
So thanks for that great question, FS Lorcana. That was definitely a fun one. There's definitely more
It
content
was.
than I thought we were going to talk about with
Yeah.
that one. Next up, we have Illuminati Emerald Weapon. Big fan of the pod and friend of ours. So quick question. Do you guys think discard is too oppressive this early in the game, or do you think it's the right time? The new 7-cost action to have all opponents discard their hand seems crazy into a green-blue ramp deck. So I'll let Mike start us off with that one because you haven't let us off. How do you feel about this? So what do you think? What's your opinion on discard? Which I know your opinion on discard, which you're gonna tell us anyway. And then how do you feel about the new Jafar card? I don't even know the name because it's in French.
Yeah. Well, I'll start with the Jafar card.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be good in a specific shell in
Mhm.
green blue. Right now, I mean, maybe that can change because that action location could make it really cheap, and then you get it out early. But I do think green blue is probably like an easy home for it, and it seems good. This card just feels bad to play against. It's just weird to me because they went out and banned Bucky. All right, whatever you want to call it. They
Errata.
errated him, but um, I just think if they're trying to improve an experience for both sides of the table, like not just the person playing the deck, but the opponent playing the deck, or playing against the deck, this card is just a weird choice, I think, because it is a little oppressive. It doesn't feel fun to play against. You're constantly grinding, and not in a fun way. So I don't know. We'll see. Basil's, I think, a bigger problem than Jafar.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that card's gonna be a way bigger problem than the Jafar card.
Like I don't see people running 4 of the Jafars. Like that would feel really bad
Yep.
having an uninkable 7, which I mean, prep you could say, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No.
prep is like so. I don't. If
Yeah.
you compare it to prep, one, it's a song, so it can get ripped.
Mm.
Yeah.
It can't get ripped off our Ursula Bear
Only,
That's
commander.
true.
That's
only
it.
one card can rip it, and that's Bear. And
Bear.
if you're not in Amber, then it's gonna stay there. So
Yeah, and I mean it again. We'll see.
Mhm.
But I know his first part of the question being, do I think being too oppressive early in the game is good or the right time? I think it's good because there's people that do like to play that archetype. That like to have that hand control. Again, and Jack's a good example too.
Mhm.
Jack was on yellow green before
Before it was big.
almost any.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's true.
And he did the same thing. Honestly, same thing with blue steel. Jack was on blue steel like set 2, set 3,
Mhm.
and then when everybody started playing it, he was like, I don't want to play this anymore, and switched to discard. But just going back to that, sorry, it is oppressive. But the thing is with Lorcana, like just using a magic comparison because it's what I know. Mind Rot is a 3-cost discard 2.
Mhm.
That card is never played. You would never play it in Magic because it's not good.
Mhm.
And Lorcana, the fact that you're hitting the resources and the actual playable cards
Yeah.
is what makes it so hard. Like it's just a brutal. This card is hard. It's a hard thing to balance, and that's the thing I'm worried about. They're gonna keep towing this line of how do you balance this without making it super oppressive. And that I'm hoping they put enough thought into it,
Yeah.
and that they've thought that far ahead, but it's yet to be seen because they already banned one of them.
Yeah, and it's like it's so hard to you wonder like how much testing was involved. I mean, obviously like it's a game, so like there's a lot of testing. Like you have to plan out like roadmap like all your stuff so far in advance. But like something with like Bucky is like, oh yeah, just when you play a Floodborn, and then like 2 sets later, it's like, oh, let's release shift targets that you don't need an ink cost for. It was like, someone missed something here.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
release obviously then you release arguably the best card in the game with a free shift. So
And I mean, and the other thing is, I think it's hard for. I don't want to be super critical of Ravensburger because they haven't been in the card game space. So like think of Magic or Pokemon first year or two, Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first year or two, there was some broken stuff you could do in the game. So
Pot of Greed.
kudos to them. Yeah, Pot of Greed, exactly. Kudos to them to say, all right, we're gonna ban this because we see it's more fun than we initially thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like there's gonna be a lot more eyes on it. So yeah, we'll see what they do.
Yeah, definitely. Brian, any thoughts to add?
No, not really. Just like Mikey said, I mean, we're in the very, very beginning stages of this card game, and I'm sure 5 years from now, people look back and be like, "Oh, remember that broken card? Remember this, that, like the Diablos and the Buckies and back in my day type thing." But I think that all comes with like, they're trying things out. They're seeing how it works, gauging reactions and stuff. And I'd rather them push boundaries, quote unquote, push boundaries and try something new rather than like stick to like one formula and not like personally, I feel like there's always going to be some card in every set that people are going to be annoyed about, angry about, say it's overpowered, say
Mhm.
it's this, say it's that, and then the people playing those colors will always defend it, and it's the back and forth of like, oh no, that's broken. Well, I don't think so. I love this card, like Diablo, right? Everybody, you know, play with it 2-3 sets from now, or once they start doing set rotations, we'll see where it ends up. We are coming up on set 6, and maybe we'll see what they do. It's something that I have wanted to speak about, but like
That segues.
Yeah.
Segue
Yeah.
from Brian about
'Cause-
Diablo.
He's been wanting to talk about Diablo in rotation for 3 episodes now, and he finally. Hey guys, we are going to rotate one day.
We'll save that. We'll save that.
We'll
but
save the hot takes for
I am
another
very
time.
curious. I am very curious whether it's going to be like, hey, 2 years set 8 start rotating, or if they'll do what Pokemon is doing now, or Magic, sorry, and
Every 2
push it out
years.
to 3 years.
Yeah, every 2
Because
years.
that was one thing I really enjoyed Magic, but having to rotate, I personally enjoyed Standard the most, and so having to rotate cards all the time, it was like a big money sink.
Yep.
So it's been pretty nice with Lorcana being fresh. Like, hey, I can use everything from set 1 to set soon to be 6, right? So that's all. Sorry.
No, you're good. Joey, anything to add?
I don't think that Jafar discard card is going to be good at all. I look at it from 2 different perspectives. Is one, on a top deck, and when you're top decking or you're late in the game, and you see that 7 mana uninkable card when they're top decking as well, what do I do? Like, how is that a good card? On the
Pass.
other side, exactly. The other side of it is, how many times are you in the mid game and they have 3 cards? Is
Yep.
that really that useful? Like, sure, you're gonna hit one of their good cards, but like, is it really that board state presented? Like, are you advancing the board state? Are you advancing to win the game? Like, you're just really just being annoying at that point. Like,
Yep.
what was everyone that I've seen talk about this card is, oh, you're gonna play it in green blue. You're gonna ramp to it. Like, okay, what are you doing? Like, you're playing all these bad characters, you're playing these bad locations to formulate this game plan. Like, what are the other like cards that you're associating with it to make it stellar? And I just don't see the blueprint of it. And then, but on the Basil side of things, I think that is going to be insane.
Yep.
Because unlike the Jafar, where the top deck is sometimes relevant, sometimes not, I think Basil is just relevant from when he lands to turn 9, like just late in the game, whenever like the card is just has text relevant at all points in the game because it's very versatile. Discard
Inkable,
yeah,
Inkable shift
Yep.
on 4,
Yep.
and
Quest.
then Quest for 2, 4/5, so it can't get like sniped
checks the
immediately.
Medusa.
Yep. It is a solid card.
Yep.
And I
Definitely.
think discard, like Mikey said, is oppressive. I think it's definitely doesn't feel good to play against, but I think it is a good archetype evil to have in the meta, so that you can't just do degenerate things. Like, it's a good check. Like, you need to have an aggro check, so you need to have a Medusa check, you need to have a B prep check. Like, there's certain like aspects to make a good card game fully round. And I think discard is just one of those necessary evils where it's a competitive deck. Generally, like, big brain people like to play those because it's like you have to, again, formulate a game plan of
Did you just say
discarding.
big brain people play discard?
Yeah. No, I don't know. But it says like it takes a certain level of skill to take a discard deck and make it good. Like, you can't just go out and make people discard. And
oh man,
oh my God.
Mike's about to drive over to Joey's and beat his ass.
Yeah, dig in the hole. He's digging the hole.
I also think people have to remember that like right now there's kind of like these 5-6 definitive archetype decks, certain colors. That's all that's kind of being played right now. And as more sets release, more cards within these 6 colors, more archetypes, you're gonna have like just straight discard decks. You might have bounce, like they're finally rewarding people for bouncing back targets. There's going to be a lot of different things.
We're getting locations.
The red purple burn deck that somebody just
Yep.
went
I mean,
all the way
look
through.
at just in the top 64 of Seattle.
Yep.
You had 3 Amber Steel decks that were completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so that's
100%.
just to read. I mean, we had a location one, a Mufasa one, and your
Standard
traditional Steel Song.
Yep.
One
And-
didn't even play Aerial.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is
only one of the best cards printed.
But what I meant to say was like you're gonna have, just like Joey mentioned, it might ultimately not even see any play because certain decks will just check it so hard.
Yep.
So as it stands, we'll see where it goes, but I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, a lot.
I don't hate a one of in that green purple. If you did a one of that Jafar card,
Yeah.
because like if they don't expect
Bouncing.
it, bro.
Or you could like double sync
Secret deck,
MKB,
secret
double sync
Yeah.
MKB, put it up, play 7 discard, and it's like discard your
Yeah.
whole hand. You have 2 targets, something
Yep.
like that. Just going back to about like discard being a good spot. So discard normally doesn't get introduced early into games like this. That's one thing that people have been like, oh, it's way too early for it. Like set 2, that was really early, or I guess set 1 technically if you think about it, with Dad
Sudden
Blast and Sudden Chill.
Blast,
So stuff like that. But another thing too is like there's not a lot of games like Lorcana in the way how with like songs are like super crazy broken if you just think about just the idea of them. So like the inherent just like way to like play something for free to like draw 2 cards, bounce something back, like stuff like that. So like you're constantly, there's no search. I guess there's one search card, soon to be a couple more in the game at the moment, but it's a lot more of just like straight draw, like draw 7. You know, even though it's wheel, both players draw 7. You know, draw 2 off of friends from the other side. Even Finders Keepers draw 3, even though it's an action, but still like you're constantly like drawing cards. So like without, if there was no discard, if there was nothing like that, like decks like RP playing
Red purple. Yeah.
Yep. Playing, you know, just bouncing a rabbit back
Value
and forth. Yeah, like think about it. Like you would just go like rabbit, quest, bounce it back, draw a card, play it back again, draw another card, and like you would play 8 bounces, you play 12 bounces in that deck, and just like continue bouncing back and forth until you get to your eventually Exodia situation. So like I think it's a necessary evil just with the mechanics of Lorcana personally. That's what I think. And don't nerf discard anymore, please. I can't take it again. I can't go through that gauntlet of testing 10 different decks just to play the same deck I played anyway. That was a brutal 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But just to follow up, just to kind of put a bow on it about the 7 card cost action, whatever it's called, submit to me, Jafar, whatever, the French
I think
card.
it's like submit to my will.
Yeah, submit to, something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll look it up one day. I'll look it up when it gets printed in English. I kind of agree with everyone else's take on it, that like it is definitely a good card, like in its inherent wording, like making I think all opponents. So technically in a multiplayer game, you could just be like, boom, everyone discard your hand.
Boys.
Yeah, we're partying now. But similar to Joey's point about how it's not great in like ramping up to it, because like sure they're ramping up to it and playing it on their turn 4 while like you're playing against someone else who has like Daisy Duck and then like Shifted Hood or something, so they're just questing for 1 million, and you're like, well, I have no hand, but I also have a Tipo on board that's just going like, I can't challenge it anything.
Yeah.
So I think there will be, I don't know if there'll be a shell for it, but I think that it'll be, you could probably slot one in somewhere. Maybe you slot it into like some mill deck or something like that, just like randomly doing something like that. Who knows? Thank you, Stefan, for a great question. Shout out to the Illuminati crew, always big fans of this pod. And then last and certainly not least, we have Wochuk1306 with a heavy hitter question here. What are your thoughts on so few decks being able to effectively deal with turn 2 Diablo, especially when it gets brawl protection from things like Cove? Who wants to kick this one off? Because this is a big one. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can start.
Yep.
I mean, unless Brian wants. I know Brian loves talking about Diablo, so he can start.
No. Go ahead.
Look at him down there. He's
like.
I do think we are getting more in this set, and then with the ramp options, like it's also gonna, like with Azerite C, I think is kind of gonna help it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you add Cove to it, that's like when it's
Mhm.
that's really there isn't a lot of answers. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I mean, I don't know the math on it on how often you could do Diablo, shift Diablo, and put it in Cove on turn 2. I know it's obviously very possible. I've played the deck a couple of times and did it a handful of times, so
Mhm.
I know it's very very possible to do it consistently. So there really isn't. Smash is kind of like the only thing you could do, right, to respond to it.
Mhm.
That's if you're on the play. But outside of that, there isn't really an answer. I don't think to do 3 damage.
Ice
So
block, brawl,
But that's
but
like
that requires setup.
yeah, setup and
Ice
Well,
block,
combo.
Uh,
you
brawl.
could also go Cinderella with 2 1-drops on turn 2.
Yeah,
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 that's
that's
true.
true too.
They
So
don't
there
get the
are
extra
some
turn.
answers to it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
I think there should be some more, but I don't know how do you, without having anything that does that you can do on your turn, like or on the opponent's turn. I don't know how you're ever going to really be able to answer them. Like if they have those cards in their hand, you pretty much just have to watch them in horror as they pull out all this they drop their combo on you. You know,
Yep.
um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
and it's
It's going to
just
be hard.
not only that, it's just the fact that it's such an early combo too. Like it's literally happens turn 2 or turn 3 at the latest. And it's like it's not even like it's like okay we're like working up to it. It's like not like a Jafar wheel situation where it's like all right turn 5 Jafar sing wheel something like that. Like it's literally like playing this for free. Oh and I can protect it. Oh and I can play another 1-drop too just in case. So it's just like it's
Mhm.
just it is very oppressive and it was kind of going back to what we were talking about these free shift costs, especially on Floodborns. That it was like maybe this wasn't such a great idea, or maybe something we'll probably never see again. Brian,
If Diablo wasn't so oppressive, this card wouldn't be a deck.
yeah, 100%. So
Mhm.
yeah, because you have to. It's a give and take for sure, and unfortunately, I think it's just a very aggressive give and take in this situation. That like
Mhm.
it's not like towing the line. It's like so much so slanted that it's like you almost have to play it one way. Like you would
Yeah.
never like after Diablo was printed, like you never it's a 4 of in every Emerald deck or well
Mhm.
every Emerald Steel deck at least. Even
Yeah.
which
honestly,
is,
go ahead.
but with the Diablos and stuff, it ended up resulting in the fact that a lot of green decks had to run Sir Hiss, right, in order to give them
Mhm.
that check. Um, there are, or people were running
Pegasus and red.
Lyle, or yeah, Lyle, in order to give it reckless.
Mm-hmm.
You had the 2-drop Pegasus in red. Um, you did have a few ways, like, or the green little Pegasus with crab.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people found workarounds, and I will say, if depending on who you're playing against, you Diablo turn 1, shift Diablo, if they are able to remove it, especially with you being on the draw, if they're able to remove it,
Mm-hmm.
that
It can
person
feel
is
bad.
ends up, yeah, that person, whoever the Diablo players, feels bad. And
Mhm.
just for reference, I had that happen in the mirror at the set championship that I played on Saturday. It was
Mm-hmm.
Diablo mirror, and guy, he was able to respond immediately, removed
Mm-hmm.
I think what I think he ended up like doing 2 damage and then killed the cove almost
Oh,
immediately.
dragged it down.
And yeah, that was it. And like now I'm left with 1 card in hand
Yeah.
on like 3 ink or something like that, and you're just at that point you're so
Yeah.
far behind. But I don't know. I think there's ways to deal with it. It is without a doubt probably like the best turn 2 you could have. Shift
Oh, by far
Diablo,
in the game.
slap it in the
By far.
cove, and
Mhm.
um, but it's right up there with the fifth queen on 2 and be able
Mhm.
to wheel or Zeus or whatever. So I, but people, a lot of Amber Steel decks stopped running queen,
Mm-hmm.
although some people have kind of come back to it.
Sure.
I don't think Diablo's going anywhere anytime soon, but there are currently a
I
few ways to
disagree with
check
that.
it. You think Diablo's going to go away?
Not
One
not
of
not
my biggest,
not before
yeah,
Hiram.
real hot take. Oh yeah. I think that Diablo in this next format is not going to be as oppressive because my big hot take for set 6 is Bounce House is just going to be insane, which I guess you could run Diablo in Bounce House, but you're having so many cards that are going to be able to bounce it and just tempo loss that Diablo consistently, and because I think the bounce house deck is going to be like a very tempo-y, play a character that bounces something, sing something, bounce something. Like at some point, you're landing a staff, and you're just going to be able to keep them off balance and effectively making them discard a card each time they want to keep getting this Diablo back on shifted, by ditching the song. And like I just think that staff is going to be such a big card in this set. You have Poor Unfortunate Souls, you have Befuddle, you have MKB, you have Kit, Bruno,
Muses.
Genie's gonna come back. Like,
Well, I don't know about
Like, it's
that
just
one.
gonna-
That's a little
Yeah,
hot.
that's-
6-drop Genie.
The new Jasmine. I think a lot of people are
Sleeping
sleeping
on that card.
on my girl Jasmine for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But
I think 6-drop Genie is gonna be, because if you look at what you have on bounce package, and I know this is a slightly different direction of where we're going, but you have almost a bounce target on 1 to 6, and so you can
Not if
just
it's in
tempo.
Cove.
Why not?
If it's in
Or-
Cove, you
Nope.
can't bounce it
Can't-
until turn 3.
Yeah.
MKB, yeah.
But that you're not singing it, right? Like you're hard
Sure, but,
casting
like,
MKB.
Yeah, but I don't think a Diablo getting 1 trigger off is game ending or like
No.
detrimental. I think like playing Lyle on 3, making it turn off and not be able to quest unless they have a song. Like, I think there's just so many things that you can just tempo them out. And then the other thing with like green steel decks, and that's like the main part where Diablo fits into, is they take forever to end the game. It feels bad the entire time you're playing against them, but it takes like 20 turns to win the game. Because they have to one lock you out, and then they start turning sideways. But half the time they don't turn sideways with their cards because the 2 questers are Beast and Prince John. And those guys are really not questing until all signs are clear. So like if you actually like sit back and watch a green steel matchup, they don't win fast. So like when you look at what I think are going to be quick combo decks and quick tempo decks that are coming in this next format, I think
they're too
Diablo is just going to
disruptive.
be slow.
But those combo decks that you're talking about require too many pieces, and Green Steel is too disruptive for them to be able to do those combos.
I agree that for sure.
So
I just think that they're going to have to transition to a different, like, turn 2 coves obviously still just insane, and you have to have answers like what Chuck is saying and like figure out different ways to interact in the early game, or you're just going to get run over in card advantage. But I just think that there's going to be a lot of early game interaction that the green steel side of things are going to have to change their game plan to interact with the new meta.
yes.
What
and
about
no.
Inarada for Diablo that it took away evasive?
Oh yeah, it would kill the card. It would be good.
Unplayable.
Yeah.
Unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would it would be dead.
I could see that coming.
I could just see. No, yeah. I
no,
mean,
I think make it a 1/1.
yeah. I
Would be
mean,
another one.
yeah. I just,
Just make it more vulnerable. Then the turn 2 cove doesn't mean anything.
yeah. Like I said, not till after Hiram. Hit Hiram first, and then we can talk.
Or Errata Cove makes 2 to move in.
Oh yeah, that
Well,
actually, yeah.
we'll do it on 2.
Yeah, yeah. We still definitely do. Oh yeah, exactly. Still do it on turn. Oh well, you couldn't do it on turn 2.
No, you could.
You couldn't. Yeah.
No, 'cause it costs 2.
Yeah. It costs,
Oh, you're right,
Costs
you're
1
right.
to play. Yeah.
Oh, there you
So,
go.
yeah.
RB, we found
When
a solution.
There was a this is like it's just like what's the symptom and what's the sickness, I think is kind of what the issue is. Like one this was from an old Killer Instinct quote, like one of the developers, like there was a time with, for those of you that don't know fighting games, there was a game, Killer Instinct. It was a fantastic game. It's still a good game. But they were talking about nerfing a character because there was like everyone was complaining about this one character's moves, and they were like, what is a symptom and what is a sickness? Like what is like the main problem and what is something that happens because of the problem? And this character's wither, everyone wanted them to nerf a specific thing, and they didn't nerf it. They nerfed something completely different, and it completely changed the character. Like, and it made it took its win rate down, and it was no longer so oppressive to play against. And like, so I think like it's just hard to say like maybe like us as players want like one thing different. Like I'll hate on Hiram all I want, but like, is it drawing 2 cards, like 1 card, gonna fix it? Probably not. It's still gonna see play. Won't be as much play, but it'll still see play at the end of the day. So like what like there like would there be another change for it? Like so something like I think it's just something that you have to look at, like what is actually the problem, and not like
Yeah.
what is like this happens because of the problem. Like, don't get me wrong, Diablo is a broken card. It's probably it's a top 3 card in the game, like no matter who you ask. So I think you kind of just have to just realize like what the check is and like try to like look at it objectively, which is hard to do, especially as competitive players, because like at the end of the day, like we're the ones that have to deal with that. And like again, me and Brian play it more than anyone else. So like
Yeah, and I think another
I
thing
play
with like
against it. I play against it more than anyone else.
I think another thing that like cause versus symptom thing, like you have to be careful with as like on RB side, because like if you take a peek at like Magic a couple of years ago with like Hogak, I don't know how much you guys are familiar with that, but like they banned 3 different cards to try to kill that deck before actually just banning the card that made that deck.
or what was the green blue planeswalker that like
bird.
no it was like it was like not
the
Echo.
elf.
Echo, yeah.
Oko.
Oko, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like transforming like things. They're like, really?
That
People,
dude
yeah.
didn't even last 6 months, bro.
Yeah.
one pro tour, or even this
Yeah.
past one. There was a pro tour a couple months
Nadu.
ago, right?
Yeah, the bird.
The bird.
The bird,
yeah.
Nadu, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was just insane. Like,
Yeah.
There's
You
so
just
many
gotta be
people watching the podcast right now. Like, is this a Magic podcast or what kind of podcast?
yeah, for real. Like 45 minutes in, and they're just like, wait, was I watching the wrong show this whole time?
Oh my God.
Thank you for a great question, Chuck. That one definitely,
Yeah.
like I said, it got the wheels spinning a little bit there. So in closing today, I think we got to talk a little bit about Seattle. Like we have to touch on it. Obviously DLC Seattle, the last DLC of the season, just happened, and it was a pretty exciting event. It was a 2K cap or a 2048 cap. So Let It Go's went all the way down to 128. A lot of people, a lot of very good players. So we had some European players coming over just to try and get their last little bit of Lorcana before their Continentals next month. And it was won by Luke Goodwin, aka Wonderland, who has been a staple in the Lorcana community. You know, from set one, he was one of the creators. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, huge shout outs and applause to him. Like someone who has definitely grinded, and he talked about too just how like his mentality going into was just like he was so up and down, just like being so close so many times. Then he finally got his like super deep run, super well deserved. So huge shout outs to him on a deck very near and dear to my heart in Emerald Steel. So my big takeaway, honestly, from Seattle was that Emerald Steel is probably just the best deck because I talked about it before the podcast, but I'll share it with you guys as well. Just how like the deck, even when the deck has to play fair, the deck is still that insane. Because like that's what we always talk about. Like, oh, when this deck has to play fair, it kind of struggles. Like Mike talking about like his Blurple list, or like even like a red blue deck. Like if you don't hit your ramp, like when or in RP, if you're not hitting your bounces or not able to draw cards, like when those decks have to play fair, like it's a very hard balance to toe to like try and like get a foot back in the game. Whereas with Emerald Steel, like to those of you that didn't watch, like Luke didn't hit a turn 2 Diablo in any of the 3 games in a fringe matchup, like against Amber Steel. Like that's not an easy matchup to play, like even when you hit the turn 2 Diablo, because they normally have an answer for it. And he didn't hit that at all, and he was still able to overcome that, losing game 1-2 on the play, no less. So I guess we can start with Brian. Brian, any thoughts on Seattle and the how good Emerald Steel actually is?
I guess starting off because like the meta seemed pretty healthy. I was pretty content with that, and then even in the top 4, 2 red purple, and then Luke on green steel, and then the 1 amber steel list, which is what ended up being the final. But we saw, I think there was a green purple. Yep. There was a good variety of decks, and like you guys mentioned, 3 different amber steel decks. None of them running the same lists. Very, very different. All in top 64. Yep.
Locations, baby.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Blurple made it.
No, didn't. There wasn't one.
But there was the red purple burn deck.
Top 8.
Super interesting to see. Top 8. Again, I think that this game is doing super well. Something we spoke about before was the fact that without Pixelborn, not having everybody math out, hey, this is what works and this is what doesn't, and kind of drive everyone to pick your best 4 decks and stick with that. Now everybody gets to it sucks testing a vacuum sometimes, but also allows for that creativity to come out. And hey, I get to try some different things. And if in Swiss, 9 rounds of Swiss, depending on what your matchups are and how deep you can make it, like going into day 2, and like
Yeah, anything
I
can
was
happen.
like, oh yeah, anything can happen. So I was super content with it. Super excited to see it. Good amount of Green Steel made it into day 2 and ended up taking the whole thing. So now Green Steel has 2 DLCs under their belt.
3.
3.
Chicago.
Oh,
Brian.
Yeah. Yep. The rat.
The Rat.
who's yeah, Chicago.
Zan.
Zan.
And now Luke.
In
Oh,
Vegas and Seattle.
all right. Diablo's on the chopping block after
Yeah, for
all.
sure.
But yeah, I was overall super stoked to see it. Definitely excited to see what they announce. Hopefully within the next week or 2 for Continentals.
Yeah.
Yep.
LCQ on the NA side. See how many spots are even open,
Yep.
and go from there. But those, I did get to watch some of the day 2 stream.
Yep.
I enjoyed it.
Mike, any thoughts as the resident Green Steel hater?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like Brian said, the variety of meta was super cool to see in top 64, and I do think that has a lot to do with the lack of Pixelborn, the meta not being solved as quickly as it was. It's fun, and that might be why I had some success with Blurple, to be honest with you, because people aren't able to get the reps in against all the decks that they made, like those rogue decks that they would see on Pixelborn to get some practice. So, it's really cool to see. There were some really cool lists, like Brian mentioned the Steel Song locations and the green purple Rose Beast combo with Bell. Like that thing was sick.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. The only thing I would say is I hope, and Joey's probably going to kind of touch on this. I know he's pretty passionate about this as well as the production side of it. It's been better every time. Like nothing against them. I know that they're like again infancy stages of the card game, but I would love to see that grow and just continue to get better. Super happy for Wonderland. Like having someone that is grinding content every day and pushing stuff out. It's a hard thing to do, man. It really is, and especially how close he got so many times, and to finally push through and get across the finish line. I think everybody was cheering for him. I mean, we heard them cheering on the stream, before it ended.
Spoilers.
I also think I was surprised how far Steel Song got.
Yeah.
Steel Song getting to the finals was a surprise to me. I thought with the amount of red blue, the amount of red blue that was there, everybody must have bought Chuck's guides before, figure out how to have the best ratios in the beating red blue. That was my takeaways.
Yep. Joey, close us out. I guess production is your big calling card.
Yeah, right. First, I want to say big shout out to Wonderland. Early on, I mean, we played with him in the 20 lore, back on Pixelborn on all those online tournaments back in the day.
Yep.
He actually coached me on the Amber Steel deck I took to TCG Con last year. We did like a couple hours the couple days before, tuning it and finding out the play patterns and stuff like that. So it's kind of really cool, full circle to see him win a DLC. And yeah, I think the meta was great. I was right on Green Steel winning. I thought it just performed well, and like I don't think it had the best conversion rate into day 2. Red Blue had that, but it definitely had one of the best like top 16, top 8 conversions. But yeah, going to like production, like everyone keeps saying it. Each DLC just got better and better. But I feel like from a neutral, like just from a spectator's point of view, I feel like there needs to be in Continentals to Worlds a big jump in production value.
Yep.
Like it feels like we're at like a big regional event, and like we need to have some sort of stage and like a legit stage for like the tables to be watched on. Like you look at the EU guys, they have headphones on because they're probably being watched by other people, and so that you don't hear like the noise. And like I remember at Atlanta, it was like crowds and like back in the corners, and you couldn't see any of the top
Yep.
tables. It's like, no, like
Yeah.
we're here to like watch good gameplay. We're here to watch like you're selling spectator passes. People are there to spectate as well. Like
Yep.
you want to see these matches. I know that the big screens have been great, the wall boards and stuff like that. The production value of like the graphics that they've done on the stream and stuff have been phenomenal. Just the clunkiness of certain things. The 3-hour delay also is
Yeah.
just like brutal.
Mhm.
Like just from not being at the events, like I can get my updates without watching the stream,
Mhm.
and so it like feels bad.
Kind of
watching
what
the stream.
happened.
Exactly.
It does feel bad. That's true.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah,
the same
and
time, would you rather have dead time? And that's like a whole other
So
discussion.
here's
Yeah.
the thing: is it's like I feel like they need to take a cue, and this is like to PPG, is like take a peek at like what SCG does at like the SCG cons back in the day with like Magic and stuff. It's like you have your main table,
Then you have
and then you have
feature,
two other matches
feature
going.
tables. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those matches are being recorded. And so when table 1 finishes in 10 minutes because it's 2 aggro decks, you can switch over to table 2 and table
Yeah.
3.
Yep.
And then when those finish and then you still have some dead time, you can do a fast forwarded gameplay. And so you just eliminate so much of the caster
I know-
time. And
To their credit, though, they are doing like I think they picked 3 tables now, 3 or 4
Okay,
tables, and
good.
they are having
Yeah.
additional.
Yeah.
So they have like, oh, we're switching over to game 2 of this other match or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
But
and it's all
I
still
do-
pre-recorded.
Yeah, but I do think going into Continentals and definitely Worlds where people are gonna be driving to Orlando to spectate, right? You can't.
Yeah.
Maybe there's gonna be like some side events we can play in, but to go spectate and watch the finals, like
Yeah.
I want that production value
Yep.
through the roof. I want to be able to sit down, and that's all I'm gonna do. I want to be able to have my snacks, my lickies, my chewies, and sit there for the entire day. Kind of because think of Evo, think of
Yeah.
CEO and
Yep.
stuff. When we would go to those fighting game tournaments, I'd sit my happy ass down the entire day and like
Just-
watch.
yep.
The production was
It
awesome,
was a
man.
show.
It was a show.
Commentators, screens, walkout music, whatever they need to do.
Yep.
But and you
Bro,
know,
they can't do walkout music for card game players. I'm sorry.
dude,
I don't know.
Disney songs, bro.
dude.
yes.
But you know, just to get the crowd more involved, because
Yeah. Like,
to
I
all
think one of
the
the things too is we're going to be in smaller player caps. Continentals is going to be a way condensed version.
Yep.
Worlds is going to be a small like 50, 60 person tournament.
for sure
like,
the
64
the
probably.
tournament, but we want everybody else who's going to have something
Yep,
to do to keep
100%.
them engaged.
But to my point is like they can really focus on multiple feature matches. They can really highlight on certain like every table could be on a stage.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we can see each person playing
At least
and
in
stuff like
in
that.
Toronto, I don't know how it was at other ones because I really didn't pay attention, or I guess I only went to Atlanta. Other in Toronto, like when they called me, they called the top 4 tables, and then they put like the top 2 on the stage, and then 2 others were on like a side stage. I never was able. Like I said, I didn't know like how it looked on the screen. Because like you guys were still playing, and then Joey, obviously you had to fly back, unfortunately. So I didn't know like how it looked like, or if they had like the lore counter or anything. Again, I just watched the post production of the stream. But so I think something like that, like so, whether or not that they do it live, which with like the headphones, like they do with like with Pokemon, and then I think I don't know how Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic. I think they just do it. I think you just have them isolated, honestly. But, like,
For
stream
Vegas,
matches, or for Vegas.
yeah. For Vegas, you had like a little concession counter over here, the tables for people to eat at, and then right next to that is where the streaming and the whatever the feature tables were. They were blocked off by a wall, so you couldn't see the players playing
Oh,
physically.
wow. Okay.
But they had a whole wall like with the Lorcana logos on there,
Mhm.
and then bigger TV. Like
Okay.
a
Yeah.
really big, I don't know, maybe like a screen. Yeah, it was like a screen,
Yeah.
and
Screen
then
wall.
screen wall, and then it was live, like as they
Mhm.
were recording.
Gotcha.
It was playing for you, so you could see all the counters. The one thing though, there was no audio.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
makes
you were
sense.
just people were like,
Well, and that's why they
talking
need
about
the
what's going
headphones,
on.
is so that you can have audio in the building.
yeah. So that would be really cool. I am glad that, especially from day 2 in Atlanta, and like them just kind of blocking everything off, and nobody could go interact.
Yeah, we're like, how's he doing
whatsoever.
over there?
I'm trying to give like a thumbs up or thumbs down or whatever, and
Yeah.
like, but I'm glad to see how far they've come.
Mhm.
I know Disney and RB have the NPPG as well. Like
Mhm.
they know that they need to take the next big step.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I think with a really good definitive Worlds production, like that's gonna rope in so many new
Mhm.
players. That's
For the
gonna
next
bring in
season.
Yep.
and not just bring in new players, but keep your current players. Like, dude, like everybody who didn't go to DLC, obviously they're like, oh, I missed out or whatever. But like, if if I already know I'm gonna have FOMO, but
Mhm.
being able to see all that going on
Yeah.
and be like, man, next year that's where I want to be
Yeah.
at. That's
Yeah.
something to strive for, something to
Mhm.
work towards,
Mhm.
and I think that'll like keep all your current
Player
players,
retention.
Yep.
yeah, player retention. So,
Yep.
sorry,
No, you're good.
dragged
No, like
on there for a
that's literally
second.
that's
Oh,
literally
it's
one of
good.
that's how it was with Pokemon for me. Like that drove me like to see like just to see like on being playing on a big stage or playing like with all these crowds like
Mhm.
watching the games. Like it was like man, like I really want to do that. Like it gives you like
Yeah,
incentive to like to get good and like to put in the time, put in the work. Like I mean, some people like I mean people don't want to put in the work and it's true. And like or maybe they just want to just
Mhm.
go and just like you know what I'm gonna play. I have fun and just go. Like it's just every kind of player. Like it just depends how you want to go. But like you said to your point, like you have these people that are gonna spectate and go and be like, man, that's really cool. Let me go check out this card game. It's Disney. It's super cool. And then just like, oh, look at this production value. Like look at all everything that's going. Like the prizes, the cards, everything. Just like the reception of it all. Like the community is great. It's just like
Mhm.
that'll draw so many people in. Like and then like even just having like the production, like that'll be top level. Like Pokemon didn't really start streaming consistently until like 2011 or so, and like or
Mhm.
2011, 2012. So like, and like it took them like 12, 13 years to like figure out like where they're at now. And like, I mean, I don't know
yeah,
if you guys have watched. You guys, I know you guys watch Worlds. You guys were talking to me about it. Just how like great it was. Like looking at the cards, the
Oh, the
hand
production's
cams.
crazy. The
Yeah,
dude, the
production's crazy.
production was awesome.
and
The
like I, yep.
stage,
And I can
Mhm.
I can tell you like just like going to like the first worlds when they like started doing stuff like that. Like it was very very low like bare bones and like Lorcana
Mhm.
is already above that like in their first
Yeah.
year. So
yeah,
like the fact to see that is like super encouraging just to see like where they can
Yeah.
get to. Like yeah,
It's exciting.
yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's just exciting just to be part of it. Like even like in the
Mhm.
little bit that we were, like going to the DLCs that we went to, like Brian making day two, like me getting on stream in Toronto, like everyone getting their Let It Goes, like it's just like super, just to be a part of that in like the first year, like that is like
yeah.
super cool. Um,
Mhm.
so closing thoughts on Seattle and the DLC season. Anyone? Anything they want to add?
No.
Just excited to get any news for the North American
Yeah,
Yep.
the
LCQ.
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 The
Yeah.
Yep.
big thing for me is the fact that like they that same day that they announced how the EU one was going to work was like this doesn't mean that that's how the NA one is
Yep.
going to be. So
I
I'm
just want to know.
hoping I do want something different, but come on, give it to me. All
Yeah.
the spoilers I love, and it's
Yeah.
all
Tomorrow's the
great.
sign
But
up.
Yep.
yeah,
We'll see how
yeah,
it
So
yeah.
goes.
yeah,
So
may get some news tomorrow.
yeah, who knows? Yeah, definitely. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, the EU sign up is tomorrow. Good luck to anyone trying for that. That 90 euro ticket is gonna be a hot one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could pull that one off. I don't think my wife will let me.
If it was just 90 euros, no problem. It's
Yeah,
the
The
$1,000
flight.
flight.
yeah, the
Yeah,
thousand
the
dollar
hotel.
flight, and then being in Paris, and then like having a hotel in Paris on probably. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like knowing us, like we wouldn't even do like a random hotel. We would be on property at Disneyland. Let's be real. So
Well, you'd have to because it's not just going to be you going by yourself.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
wife
Yep.
is going to want to go
yeah,
too.
for real.
So
Yeah, taking a baby across that. Yeah, that'd be fun going across the pond. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe not.
yeah.
Anyway, so thank you everyone for going with us. This is definitely our longest
let me.
episode. Oh, hold on, Mike
Yeah,
said a
as long
plug.
I just want to plug. I want to plug the look out for a video I'm gonna do in the starter decks, improving your starter decks with the budget for the next set. So once we get all the deck list stuff and I can kind of mess around with that, I'm gonna throw a video out there with just improving the starter decks with those two color combinations. So
Mhm.
just keep an eye out for that.
Yep, definitely. And unlike Joey, this one will actually come out. I promise. Had to just bury him one last time. All right. Anyway, so thank you everyone for tuning in. Like I said, this is a little bit of a longer one, a little bit more interaction. So definitely, like I said, any questions that you want us to answer, anything you guys would like to say or see, definitely just hit us in the comments section. Like I said, we got to 4 questions from the last one, so we definitely look forward to answering your questions in the future. For everyone else in Freedom Gaming, I'm John. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, and have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.